Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101, the weekend Q101. How to get incredible experiences and some fun this weekend with Kenzie and me on the streets. Plus, Case gives a review of all the music. But first, the facts that make your brain just go. On National Donut Day, where'd the donut holes come from? Earlier, Kenzie thought it was because they were hanging on the dry them and they popped a hole out in them in the middle to have the donuts dry.
Well, I said cool. You don't want to dry donuts.
I was picturing like underwear on a lawn on a laundry line.
You know when you take them like right out of the fryer? I thought maybe they like picked them up and let them cool or something.
Yep. Case said it was shrinkflation back in the 1600s. They already existed there. That way, we could make more donuts if we just didn't have holes in them.
That's right, because think about you take out the part that creates the hole. That's a whole other donut now.
And it's another sale. You want donut holes or do you want donuts?
Yeah, that's right.
Donuts,
Donuts?
the holes, whatever. So that's not true, either of them. All those things are wrong. It's because a ship's captain invented the holes in the donuts. He was sailing across on a voyage in the 1600s when donuts then were just these delicious fried dough pastries, like a patty, like a big thick pancake. And he was having a good time, and he put those donuts on the spokes of the steering wheel. It popped holes in them. Then everybody saw it and went, well, that's cool. And they started eating donuts that way only.
I don't know how. It's not like anybody tweeted it. Like, I don't know how everyone found out he did this on the boat, but okay.
I picture a TikTok video back then in the 1600s. So, guys, here's what I did today. I took the fried donut and put it on there. Voila. There's a hole in it now.
Maybe it was like real Twitter. Like maybe a bird dropped off a picture of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's where the whole concept came from.
Just passed it on to other countries, and eventually people thought donuts should have holes in them.
This Birdland's like, you won't believe what I just saw.
That's what it is. Today's National Donut Day. You can get deals like Krispy Kreme is giving out a free donut of any kind, no purchase necessary. You just got to snag one. And they have a buy one, get one glazed deal where you get a second dozen for $2. Also, Dunkin's got a free donut if you buy a coffee or a beverage. And I'm sure our great locals like Do Right and Stan's, Beacon Donuts. Country Donuts. We had a whole list earlier of all the people checking in with their favorite donut place. Spunky Dunkers over there in Palatine.
That's the favorite thing I've ever heard in my life.
They're so good.
Spunky Dunker.
Yep. And just make sure you check out your local donut place for a deal today on Donut Day. Get yourself a donut. You deserve it. Case, weekend Q101. We always start with the music. What do you got?
Oh, my goodness. Well, it is summertime in Chicago. The live music calendar has filled up. A bunch of great shows this weekend. The band Camp is at the Salt Shed. People love them. People are super excited about them. The Menzingers, an all-time great punk band. They're playing the Metro Friday and Saturday. Limited tickets still available for both. I'm going to try to make it out on Saturday. If you can't make it to the Metro on Saturday, Pierce the Veil in Tinley Park. Sold out immediately. It is Pierce the Veil and Sleeping with Sirens in beach weather. 30,000 packed in Tinley. That's going to be an incredible show. Have fun if you're going. Check it on Monday. Tell us how it was. And then Block Party is at the Salt Shed on Sunday, celebrating 20 years of their iconic record, Silent Alarm, one of my favorites of the 2000s. That show is going to be fantastic. What a great weekend it is for Chicago music.
And just a reminder, we had Pierce the Veil 2 years ago at the Cubby Bear for a Q101 free pop-up with 500 people. Now 30,000 in Tinley Park for Pierce the Veil. They couldn't have been nicer. They couldn't have delivered a better show of all time at the Cubby Bear in a small setting like that. Wishing that night, hopefully there's a little bit of chance of rain earlier in the day, but I hope that's a party out there in Tinley with Pierce the Veil.
Can you imagine a little mud fight at Pierce the Veil? Not that I'm condoning it by any means.
Well, listen, I can go back in memory a little bit.
I'd cry. Somebody threw mud at me when I got to a concert.
Kenzie, hold that thought for a second. Hold that thought.
What the hell?
I want you to picture this, Kenzie. I don't remember the year. Maybe Case can find it. I'd start telling the story. Okay. Metallica played Tinley Park. And what happened was they had just laid down new sod in the grass area, in the lawn.
Big mistake.
Big mistake.
Huge.
It had rained. Huge. Really big. A huge mistake. So it had rained and the sod hadn't taken hold by the time the show started. I may even not remembering a Metallica. I don't know if you have to Google, like, people throw sod on people in the pavilion at Tinley Park. That might do it.
How do you have the wrong... How do you not know what concert this was?
Because it could have been Ozfest. I cannot remember. I thought it was Metallica. And since they had laid down, and anybody that's laid down sod in their lawn, they're like about those 2x4 slots of sod, people were grabbing them up because they were slipping in the rain and just taking the big pieces of sod and throwing it on the people in the pavilion.
Oh my
So,
god.
so to your point, you didn't want be muddy. Imagine a piece of sod your height while you're enjoying it in the pavilion. So it would hit you.
It would knock me out. That would knock me out.
You would have been buried like you're underground with that
I know,
sod
I'm
hit
dead. You wouldn't see my body when it landed.
Where'd Kenzie go? There's sod there now.
That's weird.
They put-
Walking all over me.
They'd put flowers on the sod like it was your funeral site.
I'd be so upset. I'd be so sad because I'm so happy. That's why I get pavilion tickets in case it rains. I don't mess around. I'm not doing that.
Case, did you find any fact checking on that?
So, and I don't want to turn this into a whole thing because this could lead to a 45-minute discussion, but you guys have to say where you're going to be this weekend in case people want to hang out with you.
Okay.
But in 1994, Metallica played Tinley Park with Suicidal Tendencies, one of your favorite bands.
Oh, what a show!
Which is what I would have had if somebody threw sod on me.
It was Metallica, Danzig, and Suicidal Tendencies. That feels like a show in which there would have been a sod fight at.
So there's no talk of
I just have the set list. I don't have. I
You have the sod list too, or just the set list?
I didn't write a book on the show.
Okay, so I think I might have been wrong because Chef Sean checked in and he knows this stuff. He said it was Ozfest. I got it confused. And he said we threw the sod at Crazy Town when they were playing. How could you do that? Shifty just passed away last year.
That's too bad.
Come, my lady. Come, my lady. Ow! Ow! What? Why did a piece of sod just hit me? That was
Why
mean.
would you lay sod? When you're about to, everyone's gonna sit out there. You know somebody's gonna do something stupid.
Well, they had to relay the sod, and I guess it just didn't take by the time the show hit. And you're not going
can't do that.
You're not going to cancel Ozfest.
Hate when
not
that
a good idea.
happens.
If you canceled Ozfest, they would have marched in there and ruined the sod anyway. The people that were going to the show. Okay, so it was 2005 Ozfest. Thank you, people, on the fact checking on the line. And he said, let's see, a new texter, Andy from Lincoln Park. Thanks for being a new one to the party. Says, let me see if I can share my video of it to you, please.
Good Lord.
Please.
What are you taking out a camcorder? What is that? He's like, I'll mail the VHS in. You have to see this.
Just send us the tape. We'll find a VCR
It's
around
like
here.
America's Funniest Home Video. Send us the tape.
I imagine the sod's going and he gets hit holding a camcorder that goes over your whole shoulder. One of those things you see in old TV shows.
Oh, no.
Tony checked in. I was there, ... Saw a girl get hit in the head with a chunk of sod.
Oh.
Could have been Kenzie. Could have been Kenzie.
I would have been arrested for murder. I would have been in so much trouble.
No,
for
you
my-
wouldn't have. The sod would have buried you. You couldn't have gotten out of it to do
I'm
anything.
so upset. Oh my God.
just
Now I can't even go to Tinley. I'm going to have this
No.
irrational fear now.
No, it's fine.
I can't go.
It's fine. They do
I
better
can't
job.
do anything there. No, I have an irrational fear now. I can't go.
Can you imagine Kenzie going, come, my lady, come, my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar. Pow!
Why?
I can't imagine that. It's quite funny, actually.
Oh, thanks everybody for
You're one night away from my kids and I get beat up with grass. You gotta be kidding me.
the odds of getting hit with sod. What are those odds?
Well,
Hi at my home with children, but not when I go out and get a babysitter.
oh, man. 312 checked in. Ministry played Lollapalooza in 1992. There was a sod fight there in Tinley Park as well.
Oh.
This place is a death trap. I can't go.
Okay,
Can't have it.
I'm going to ruin Alpine Valley for you because Tucker checked in and said that happened with Guns N' Roses at Alpine Valley. And,
Nope.
and Alpine Valley's lawn is
Oh, my
humongous.
God.
Okay,
I
new rule. If there's
can't
grass, I'm not
imagine.
going. So there's that.
So you're just going to go to shows in like parking lots?
Yeah, I'm not going to grass shows.
But where are you going tonight, Kenzie? How
I
about that
am
for a
gonna be-
tie-in?
No grass. I'm going to be at Bandit.
I heard they just laid down fresh sod.
I'm not going.
I would love it if you get to the bar and they go, you know what, we got this great new patio. We put some new sod down. It looks like you're outside in
I
the
was gonna be
suburbs.
like, I don't do patios.
Anymore. No more patios anymore.
Not
I'm
since
new
the
irrational
incident.
fear. But anywho, I'm going to be at Bandit tonight. I'm going to be there from 6 to 8. Really great kickoff of the weekend. That's in the West Loop. Awesome area. Even if you start there and you want to spend the rest of your night out, it's just like a great bar hopping area over there. So come see us because we're going to be giving away an OK Go experience that you can win to do with Picnic. Or honestly, even if you don't want to win an experience, we're just going to have a lot of fun kicking off the weekend. I'm sure you want to go out tonight and not cook anyways. So come see me.
Hell yeah. Then tomorrow, see me in the same area. I'll be at Puttery, though. Puttery from 5 to 7 p.m. In the West Loop. Same deal. We're giving an experience to OK Go at the Wonder Museum. So Make sure you come out. It's going to be a party. That bar is insane, and it's labeled appropriately. It is like the most ridiculous indoor golf course ever, plus the food, the drink. 5 to 7 tomorrow. Kenzie, 6 to 8 tonight at Bandits. All the information at Q101.com. So make sure you join us out there with Stella Artois and Neutral Vodka Seltzer, our big sponsors for Picnic, which is next weekend already. Picnic's here.
Ew.
Get your takeaways in right now, 312-591-8300. Something that was memorable about today's show or all week's shows. Friday's takeaways can be from the whole week. Something very memorable to you. Text in 312-591-8300. Your takeaways next with Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Yes, the White Sox were sold yesterday. There's a catch, and we'll get to that in sports.
The Q101 Morning Crew. Sports.
In just about 2 minutes, because first we would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge Indiana's Pacers. A lot of Northwest Indiana fans in the area. Northwest Indiana Pacers fans, I should say, as Case did some kind of truffle shuffle dance right there off the air. You didn't get to see it. What a game, 111 to 110. First 47 minutes, 40 seconds of the game, Thunder in control. But it's all about the last couple seconds.
Final seconds, no fouls to give. Halliburton looking. Halliburton driving, pulls off, jump shot. It's good! It's good! With 0.3 of a second remaining. Timeout, OKC. Tyrese Halliburton does it again.
Classic, instant classic. On a poster, that shot. The Pacers were 6 for 10 in the fourth quarter of threes, helped get them back in. And the Thunder were up as much as 15 at one point. Now, Kenzie, do you remember the stat from the earlier sportscast? It's so you can go ahead and do it. Let me see if we can do it without giving any hints.
Okay. So since 1971, there's been 182 teams in the NBA Finals that are down 9 points.
Hold on. Let her finish. Let her finish.
That are down 9 points with 3 minutes left. There's only been one team who's then won the game, and it happened last night.
That's right. That's generally right.
Why are you guys laughing at me?
He laughed when you said 182 teams in the NBA. I think it kind of sounded like that. Is that
No,
what
like 108 has happened that many times.
Games, not teams.
Whatever.
Listen, I'm giving her credit on that. That was a good job, Kenzie. That was very good. Face being an a-hole.
I'm not.
Just like about the Goonies.
Yes, you are.
There you are.
We're going to institute a segment where nobody's allowed to be mean to me. It's going to be radio silence.
Boo.
Game 2 is Sunday at 7. Now, yesterday, myself and Case were at the White Sox. Tim Elko singled and scored a pinch run in the extra innings where Case was eating some red velvet cake at that point in the suite and missed it. So if you missed it like him, here's what it sounded like.
A 1 pitch. Elko on the ground up the middle, and that's gonna do it. Corey Lee scores a walk-off for the rookie, Tim Elko. The Sox will split this 4-game series against the best team in Major League Baseball.
Very exciting. The White Sox continue their homestand on today, opening a 3-game series against the Royals. And then the Tigers are going to go home and then meet the Cubs there after the Cubs get down. More on that in a second. But who are the White Sox bringing up? Case, as the White Sox fan in the room, they're bringing up this weekend?
They're bringing up catcher Kyle Teal, who they got in the Garrett Crochet trade to the Red Sox. Kyle Teal is one of the few players in the White Sox farm system that has given me hope over the last few months. He has far surpassed a overhyped rookie like Colson Montgomery. Kyle Teal making his Major League debut this weekend. He can knock the cover off the ball. I'm very excited about that.
Now, more on the White Sox. Case's White Sox. The White Sox were sold yesterday, but there's a catch. Here's what happened. The White Sox announced Thursday in one of the longest press releases in the history. It was like the Constitution. It was like the Ten Commandments.
I don't even know what happened. I saw this news from Jerry Reinsdorf, and then the post, and I'm like, well, I'll just have them tell me. So I had no idea.
Here's a very abbreviated version of that long press release. The White Sox announced Thursday chairman and majority owner Jerry Reinsdorf and minority owner Justin Ishbia have reached a long-term investment agreement. He's already part of it that established a framework for Ishbia to obtain a future controlling interest in the White Sox. He's already in, but doesn't have a controlling interest. Jerry Reinsdorf has the controlling interest, who, by the way, bought the White Sox for $19 million in '81. So it's worth in the, 4, 5, 6 billion range right now.
Billion, yes.
Billion. Under the terms of the agreement, Ishbia can make capital infusions to the White Sox for next season, 2025, 2026, which could mean maybe players, I hope it's not a stadium because we couldn't say enough yesterday how beautiful Sox Park is, and then want to move it to the 78. The new neighborhood is idiotic. It's a beautiful ballpark.
Put the money on the field, baby.
Damn right. That's what HB is there for. It's like an ATM. That guy, by the way, Kenzie, another guy you missed out on.
Oh, don't even get me started.
So.
I also think Shohei Ohtani and I would have got along amazing. So.
Oh, yeah.
But whatever.
That's very funny.
You would have been taking money out of his account without him knowing and betting it. You know what I mean? You just. That's for sure.
I'll translate for you, baby. Who do you need me to speak English to? I'm on it.
So.
Do you speak Japanese?
No, I'll figure. I get his vibe. I'll tell him what you want.
That's the first translator ever to say, I'll just vibe. You say stuff and I'll vibe.
I can tell he likes this house. We will buy it.
Yeah, what did he say? Buy it.
He said he wants it.
Now in cash.
Let's go.
We talked about how Kenzie missed out on the Chicago Fire billionaire who owns Morningstar and has a $22 million home in Lincoln Park, and he's building his own stadium for almost $1 billion in the 78, where the Sox should have been. You also missed out on Justin Ishbia, an American billionaire. Not only is he part owner of the Sox, he's the majority owner with his brother, the Phoenix Suns, the Phoenix Mercury, the Women's National Basketball Association, along with Major League Soccer team. You get what I'm getting here. You missed out on this guy, too.
I understand.
And he's younger. He's only 47.
Oh.
With the guy from
Younger than my husband.
Whoa. What you been doing with your life?
Okay.
Now, to continue this ownership transfer, what Ishbia can get, there will be no immediate transfer of the White Sox to Ishbia until 2029. At that point, for 4 years, Reinsdorf has the option of selling controlling interest to him. He ain't going to do that. I mean, I don't know why it's in the agreement, but he's going to go
He
like...
should have never done this, Jerry Reinsdorf, because Ishbia's going to have him killed. I would never have written this down. Like, he's going to have him whacked.
Just because, well, Reinsdorf
So
still...
that he can have it. Like,
but-
okay, now that we wrote down and I have what I need, like, as long as you die, I mean, he's going to have him killed.
But in that frame, Reinsdorf still has to have the option to sell the team. He has to say it to him. It won't just turn over to him until 2034. That's when he has the full option to acquire control no matter what Reinsdorf wants to do.
No, but think about it. If Reinsdorf died and
Yeah.
HB has this agreement, I think he would just roll into him.
I think you got to look at page 94 of the press release. It probably says if
I
I,
don't know.
died,
He's going to
it's
get murdered.
null and void.
Hillary brought up a great point on the text line about that. It reminds me a little bit of when Leno was the host of The Tonight Show, but NBC announced in 5 years that Conan would get to take over.
Oh, it's exactly
Very much
right.
like that.
So in 2034, Jerry Reinsdorf will be 98, but he's a vampire. He has no hobbies. He's not going anywhere. So as soon as Ishbia gets control of the team, Reinsdorf's going to be like, I actually think I want it back. I'm just gonna take it back.
And he'll say, you didn't see page 94 where it says, I can take it back anytime I want.
The famous I can take it back clause.
Yeah, the Jay Leno clause, if you will.
And you know what? If Ishbia goes through that, I'm here to support him. I'm here to be his shoulder to cry on, because
Yeah.
that's a lot to deal with.
Yeah, how would you do that, by the way?
I'm
How
just, whatever he needs. Does he translate?
Do you need a translator?
He's American.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. It's 8 o'clock. It's Friday, and that means it's time for Case's movie review, where if you're new to the show, Case hasn't seen a lot of movies. He's 26 years old, and he reviews movies that all of us have seen. 40th anniversary of the Goonies. Big deal. Let's get into it.
For Christ's sake, tomorrow's the 4th of July, and we will be open for business.
What country you from? What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what?
Utah. Give me 2.
Do you enjoy pain?
Pain don't hurt.
Wax on, right hand. Wax off, left hand.
Now fry like bacon, you little freshman piggies! Fry! Fry!
Playing football at West Canaan may have been the opportunity of your lifetime, but I don't want your life.
Okay. The Goonies released June 7th, 1985. So this weekend it would have been the 40th anniversary. The budget was $19 million. It did $125 million in 1985. That's a lot of dough for a movie back then with, budgets. Now we think a blockbuster has to make like $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. That was a blockbuster. That was a huge movie, The Goonies. The 2017 film was selected for the preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being, quote, culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. The Goonies. And we'll start, as we always start, with the trailer. So you're going back 40 years on this. This is what it sounded like when the commercials on radio were advertising The Goonies.
Steven Spielberg presents The Goonies, a Richard Donner film. More things happen in this movie than in 6 ordinary action films, says Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
This way, this way!
The Goonies is awesome adventure. Indy Jones, look out, says Pat Collins of the CBS Morning News.
I want to report a murder!
Just like that last prank about all those little creatures that multiply when you throw water on them.
The Goonies, rated PG. Now playing at a theater near you.
All right, interesting. A lot going on in that trailer.
I'll say.
And I got to say, since we started doing this a year and a half ago, as we said, Case had not seen all the movies that we've all seen. And now you've seen a bunch, obviously, at this point, but it's been a year and a half. But I've never seen him more tortured in watching a movie for a review. I've never heard him say he stopped it and said, I'll finish it tomorrow. Never, ever, Kenzie, has he said those kind of things with a movie review.
I don't think he's going to like this one.
I wouldn't look forward. So many people, Tina in Westmont, said when you announced this earlier in the week, she's been dying for the review. It's her favorite movie of all time.
That's her favorite movie.
Her favorite movie. She's seen it 102 times, Tina said, from Westmont. Maybe it's just, I don't know if it's a Westmont thing.
Tina needs to relax a little bit.
I mean, there's a lot of movies out there that people love to death. I know, everybody I know, and I like the movie, but everybody I know loves The Goonies. Loves it to death. So, Case, what'd you think of The Goonies? He didn't leave the room.
I've never had a less enjoyable experience watching a movie.
Had a feeling that was coming.
I don't understand how anybody would like this. I don't understand how people that I like, people that I trust, people that I consider to be my friend, I don't understand how they could like this movie, and there's a lot of them out there. This movie's terrible. There's nothing good about this movie. You know, and I'll get in front of this. You know, there's been some 80s films that I haven't been a huge fan of. You know, 16 Candles, not great. Top Gun, didn't totally understand it. But I at least see merit in those movies. There's scenes that I enjoy. There's actors I enjoy. What am I going to do, not watch Val Kilmer on screen? Turns out that guy was great. Hadn't seen the movie until he passed. Bummer. Wish I would have enjoyed him while he was alive.
Maybe you could have met him and said, love the movie.
God, it would have been a real treat because that guy is very talented.
Yep, you wasted it. You wasted that opportunity.
There is nothing redeeming about this movie. I didn't like the trailer that we played. I didn't like the story of the movie. I didn't like the actors in the movie. I didn't like the way the movie was shot. I didn't like the story of the movie. As a kid, I was never interested in treasure. To me, a treasure is a hard day's work, working 9 to 5, punching the clock. These kids didn't have any jobs. I don't understand why.
Did you work child labor in a coal mine in Indiana? I know it's rough over there, but come on.
I tell you what, I found, like Brian said, I started watching this movie earlier in the week, and about halfway through, I had to pause it and come back the next day because I couldn't. Everybody in this movie's yelling. The child actors are bad. The adult actors, the Fratellis, the Evil Families movie, they're horrible. Everybody's just screaming at each other this entire movie. Not to mention the fact that you have the character of Sloth. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what that is.
Hey, you guys!
Yeah, so right before we go live, Brian's like, well, you at least love Hey You Guys, right? I go, no. Hey, the guy said Hey You Guys. I don't know what Sloth. I don't know if that's okay. I don't know if you're allowed to do that. I don't know what that was.
Kenzie, I asked him if he had audio from the movie because he always has a couple clips he loves. He goes, no, I don't got any. I go, you don't have Hey You Guys. He goes, no, what's that?
It's awful.
What are you talking about? One of the most iconic movie lines in history. He doesn't have that. Text already coming in, by the way. Josh says,
what? I was going to read Josh's.
Oh, you read it, Kenzie. You go ahead. Read it.
God, just stop talking for 1 second.
Go ahead.
Josh said, to understand Goonies, you would have needed to have friends when you were younger.
Now, that's a huge problem. I did not have friends when I was younger. I don't relate to this movie. I never had a gang of hoodlums that I was running around with, breaking into people's houses, trying to take their belongings. None of this is relatable to me. Not to mention the fact, like I said, you've got Sloth, and I don't know if that's okay or not. I was taken aback by that entire character.
Why can't you just sit back and enjoy it and not overthink it?
What was there to enjoy? He goes, hey, you guys, that's not funny. I like a joke. That's not funny.
What'd you want,
Corey
Lane?
wrote, how absolutely dare you?
I don't get it. And then the one thing that I knew from this movie, because it's funny, like I watch a lot of these movies, and some of them I'm very excited because I've heard about them. Heat, which I watched last week, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to watch Heat. I've heard of this. Jaws, I was like, oh, I can't wait to watch Jaws. It's going to be so awesome. The Goonies was one of those movies that I had heard of, obviously, but I knew nothing about it. I didn't know anybody in the movie. When Corey Feldman played Riot Fest 2 years ago, everyone was like, oh my God, Corey Feldman's there. I was like, oh my God, who's Corey Feldman? I don't know what's going on. I didn't know anything about this movie, didn't know the plot, didn't know whatever. The only thing I knew was because of Family Guy that there was something called the Truffle Shuffle in this movie. I didn't know what that was, and after watching this movie, I wish I didn't know. That was like a Diddy humiliation ritual. This chubby kid comes to the house, and they're like, you can't come in until you take your shirt off and jiggle. Diddy's in court for that right now.
No, he's in court for much other stuff than
other stuff
than the truffle shuffle. Has nothing to do with that. By the way, we got to keep adding text, Kenzie.
Please,
when you see one, Kenzie, let me know because there's 815 checked in. Ahoy, this is Abel from Westmont, another one from Westmont, saying, and here comes the death threats to Case.
I thought it was bad when I said that the plot of Tommy Boy didn't make any sense, but this is ugly. It's just a movie that I honestly, like, I come into all these movies, I've had to say this a lot over the last year, I come into all of these movies hoping to like them, and as you guys can attest to, I love movies now. I'm going to the movie theater to see new movies. I'm watching old movies at home. I watch a movie for this show every Friday. It turns out I love movies. They're awesome. I can't believe I neglected them for the first 25 years of my life. I genuinely do not understand how anyone could like this movie. It's not funny. It's not interesting. It's not good to look at. It's awful.
It's the 40th anniversary of Goonies, by the way.
Something that's funny that's happening right now is a lot of people usually text in movies to be reviewed. People are texting in movies for Case to not review, which is an interesting, like, don't touch my favorite.
Well, this is the problem with the 80s. You know, when I reviewed Top Gun, one of my big points was maybe the 80s they were a bad decade. Maybe all the stuff that has survived.
The 80s is coming back stronger than ever, and so you're seeing it. I don't know what kind of lens you're looking at the 80s, but put that lens on the ground and smash it with a boot.
It's just, like, if this movie came out today, nobody would enjoy this. But in the 80s, you had, like, 4 things to do.
You know what? Let me stop you there.
Okay.
Because you say that, but, one of the most popular shows of the last 8 years is Stranger Things, which is basically the Goonies.
I haven't seen it. Can't speak to it. Never looked good.
I don't feel like Stranger Things and the Goonies are similar.
Absolutely. They steal from the Steven Spielberg 80s adventure vibe. Children. It's very, I know it's more based on
the plot, though.
The plot, not exactly the plot, but the whole vibe of Stranger Things is absolutely the Goonies, like Steven Spielberg's 80s look, an adventure, kids doing something. As actually 708 checked in another text. And Kenzie, you just read a text you see that you like when you see one. I like this one, 708. How much did Case get bullied in school?
A lot.
Because I sure would have bullied him. Mike checked in from now.
Now hold on. There's all these texts coming in. You guys, much like the mainstream media, are ignoring the truth. 708 checked in. Amen, Case. Goonies sucks balls.
Okay, you know. Somebody said Case is just describing himself.
when it's not any good to look at.
Oh my God.
I found this movie to actually be torturous. When I watched The Shining last year, because Kenzie gave me a bunch of scary movies to watch in October, one of my complaints about The Shining was that it was too loud. There were too many noises going on in The Shining. But at least there was an artistic merit to that. I can see from an objective lens, if you will, that there's value to The Shining. This movie's 2 hours of fat kids yelling at each other. I just can't take it. It was all these kids have these shrill voices, and it takes one to know one, mind you. Oh my God.
Correct.
It was awful.
Correct.
This was a terrible
People are
movie.
asking you stop talking right now on the text line.
We're going to go to commercial in just a second, but this movie was awful.
Also, Brad checked in saying Case needs a shirt that says, "It's me, not you." Going
Louis
forward.
texted in and said, I'm unfollowing Case on Instagram right now.
Oh, please don't do that, please. Actually, you can do the opposite. You can follow me on Instagram
No.
@_K-Slow. That's
No, we're not letting you do
CASLOWE.
it. We're not letting you get it in. We're not letting you get it in. Listen, that's why we do this. The lens of a 26-year-old that hasn't seen a lot of movies, going back to these classics, The Goonies, one of the most beloved movies. And like you said, Corey Feldman, who was at Riot Fest last year. It was 2 years ago?
2 years
2
ago.
years ago.
He was there
right.
with Insane Clown Posse. There was a moment where I was standing next to Violent J and Corey Feldman. It was surreal.
Yeah.
The weird circle.
It was. I felt very odd.
Oh.
A lot of people are checking in. They're right. We talked about Moana earlier this week with the annoying girl that was singing Moana on the plane. We had our crew members vote if I should watch Goonies or Moana.
Yeah.
You guys let me down. I really wish I would have watched Moana instead.
Well,
I told you to watch Moana.
I know.
You never listened to me.
We let the people decide. That is a bad movie. And all the movies I've watched over the last year and a half.
How hard I try. Every turn I take, every trail I tread.
Moana came up because this girl sang this on a
So
plane.
basically, if Case was on a flight where he had to watch the Goonies and then this girl got up to sing, it would be as big as this is hell repeated for him.
That plane wouldn't have made it to the ground.
Well-
a door would have opened at some point on that one.
If the plane was showing the Goonies and this girl was singing, I would have started moshing in the aisleway. I'd take that girl 10 times out of 10 over the Goonies.
Would you say, because as we're going to break here, we get your rating. First off, like I said, I never saw you struggle with a movie yet, and you've seen, I don't know, close to 50,
We've done probably 50 movies at this point.
50, 60 movies at this point. And even the first ones, like you didn't like Braveheart.
Hated Braveheart, hated The Matrix.
But you got through them, I would not say easily, but you got through the movie. This one you had to stop. This is the first time I've ever heard this. For the Goonies 40th anniversary, how dare you?
I know, it was tough. When I was watching Braveheart, which was the very first one I did last March, I did pause the movie halfway through because I thought the movie was about to end, and then I realized there was another hour and a half left, and that was very tough. But I finished Braveheart in one sitting. The Goonies, I had to take a break. I tell you, this is... I'm questioning a lot of people in my life based on their love of the Goonies. Now, I'm really taken aback by the love that this movie has.
So the people that you have friends that like it, like myself, or, well, just about anybody listening, they're not your friends anymore, is what you're saying.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I need to reevaluate some things. I need to be present on this journey of reevaluating what people in my life think of the Goonies.
Dan, the cameraman says, maybe Jeremy Piven was right about Case. All right. I guess we get to a rating here of Goonies. I have no idea what to expect here. What are you going to rate it in?
Out of truffle shuffles, the Diddy humiliation ritual that it is.
How many
We've
is
all
it?
truffle shuffled before. Settle down.
Yeah. How dare you?
I'm going to give this movie 2 truffle shovels out of 10. I find it to be completely devoid of merit. It is not one that I would recommend. If you are a young person like me listening and you haven't seen the Goonies, don't worry. You're not missing anything.
Final text from 773. Case hated the movie because it was a biography.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101 with the facts to make your brain go. National Donut Day. Hit up Krispy Kreme. Hit up Dunkin'. I imagine my people do right. Beacon Donuts. Love them. Love them to death. Let's see, what other donut places do I frequent? Do right. Stan's. Stan's Donut. Come on. Stan's. A lot of great.
Let's take another minute to think about it. What other donut places do you go to? What was the name of the place? Kenzie was on maternity leave. Al Roker Jr. brought us donuts.
Oh, it was in Joliet.
Where were those? That was like eating a slice of heaven.
It was so good.
While you're doing that, I would like to shout out a suburban donut place that is superior, Country Donuts.
Country Donuts.
You brought those in one time, I think.
I brought you Country Donuts.
They were delicious, yes.
They are the best.
Let's see. Joliet Best Donuts, real quick. Let's see what comes up. Home Cut Donut Den. Wasn't that it?
Maybe.
Oh.
I thought the first
You
one sounded more
really
familiar.
excited about it. It has to be it.
I wasn't cutting any slack for Home Cut Donuts, it's called, which is a great name.
I thought it might have been home cut donuts.
It could have been. There's, let's see, Donut Den Parlor Donuts.
It was a parlor.
That's in Bolingbrook, though. That's not in Joliet, but let's see. T.O.'s Donuts?
Maybe it was Donut Den. I don't know. They're really good. You know what? The thing about donut, never had a bad one.
Yeah, Spunky Dunkers in Palatine, really good as well.
Yeah.
They brought donuts in before.
Funky Dunkers.
You ever been over? That's not too far from you. Spunky Dunkers.
That's adorable.
You need to go. They're delicious. So many good donuts out there. So, how did the hole get in the donut? Kenzie guessed that they were going to hang them on hooks to dry, I think.
Yeah, like something about either like stretching the dough or hanging them on hooks to cool. I thought something like that.
And Case said it was shrinkflation. They decided that these donuts were this great patty for a while, and then someone said we could save so much with the holes.
And by the way, you asked if donuts were the first edition of shrinkflation. Where's the beef? The Wendy's commercial from the 80s dedicated to shrinkflation.
Facts.
Yeah.
Max, good call. Good pull on a guy that wasn't born.
It was from the text line. I forget who. Somebody had it on the text line. Well done by them.
Oh, they don't give credit to the text line anymore, huh?
I forget what the number was. I can't find it.
I see how we do this now. By the way, Americans consume 10 billion donuts every year. 10 billion. That's a low number, I think, because there's 340 million in America. That would only be like 3 donuts a year. I mean, there's not people out there not eating donuts, right?
Yes, there's people not eating donuts, and you have to think there's also like babies are part of that. They can't have a donut. Like, you're just gonna get amount of people.
Harper's 2.5, and she's eaten probably 400 donuts by now.
That's gonna be a separate thing she has to address.
Trying to eat her way into diabetes. So, how the donut got a hole? Neither of you guys are right, by the way, but they were great guesses. Hanson Gregory, this is the story. Hanson Gregory was on one of his voyages. When they use the word voyage, sounds really old. Yeah, this was a ship captain from the 1500s. He brought homemade donuts to feed himself and his crew. Donuts were just fried dough pastries then, didn't have any holes. One day while Gregory was handling the ship, he put a few of the dried fried dough pastries through the spokes of the steering wheel, and the hole happened. So he put them on those, like an old, let's say, Pirates of the Caribbean, there's spikes on the steering wheel. He was
Why? Why would he put them all there? Is he a steer?
Because he wanted donut access anytime he wanted to, and he put that pastry on those holes.
How? Oh my gosh, he had to be like wasted. He's like, look at this. Like taking a bite while he's steering.
He's like, hey guys, I bet I can miss that iceberg while eating this donut pastry. That's how the Titanic happened.
One on every hand. You could just see him spinning it and just having his mouth open.
Guys, I got 9 donuts on this steering wheel. That's how they have holes, because this dude.
Wasted person activity.
It sounds delicious, though, to have all these pastries on your steering wheel and just eating your steering wheel.
Oh, Brian's like, bring back spokes on the steering wheel.
Be amazing. And that's where the donut hole, that's why we have holes in our donuts now.
How'd that news get to everybody, though? They were just on a ship of like a handful of people.
Well, I guess wherever he landed on his voyage, which it doesn't say, he got off, maybe he was eating the last one with a hole in it, and people said, what the hell's that? It's a donut. No, that's not a donut, you idiot. Yeah, it is. I put it on the steering wheel. It's got a hole in it.
If you
now.
go to ship anytime soon, it's the best idea ever.
Go ahead and put it on your steering wheel. Before you knew it, that was the only travel they had. They didn't have planes back then. So everybody started putting those on their steering wheels, and before you know it, alas, donuts with holes. There you go.
Huh.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm just surprised it caught on from his little one-off, but okay.
That's how it happened. It's Brian and Kenzie, Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.